Hi everyone. So I'm going to review the field report for you all. And no matter what your topic is, whether it's leadership, diversity, ethics, or technology, the application, the critical thinking piece is the same. The only reason or reasoning behind the difference of topics is so that you have a chance to kind of be creative with this. Okay? So they will vary from semester to semester, of course, but for example, this report form and analysis is about leadership. Again, you are to apply a competency about leadership. So you want to describe the style that you've observed during your field experience. So thus far, you would probably have a roughly around 5 to 8 weeks to sort of take a look at what's going on around you. And you should have already done this. But for example, you were in a meeting and a person that is of higher administration status has made a simple decision, whether it was good or whether it was bad. So these are some things that you have to look at. So recall transactional leadership, recall transformational leadership. You are to look those definitions up, how they apply. Maybe there's another leadership style that you have observed. That is fine. I would look up a reputable source. Nordhaus is a good one for this. Then you are to write an essay using the categories on the next page that I'll review too. So this should be 2 to 3 full pages. This is proper APA formatting. If you don't and are not familiar with it, look it up. Google Purdue OWL is a very good source. Okay, so there's a title page, there's a body of work, and there's a reference page. And the rubric I'll review as well. All this should be uploaded as one Microsoft document file. So the written analysis part, and there is an example on Blackboard, and it could be a diversity example. But the first part is the applied competency. So the applied competency, again, whether leadership, technology, ethics, or diversity, is the same. So you'll need to research the style of leadership. You'll need to research the technology. You'll need to research the diversity. Again, this is where you'll actually research. And a good one for leadership would be John Wooden, Nordhaus. Look them up. Wikipedia is not a source. Then you're to identify a problem or event. And this will vary depending on your topic. So again, if you were sitting in a meeting and you've identified fantastic leadership that your athletic director or CEO has displayed, write about that. This can be a good or a bad issue, or an issue that you can see on improvements. All right, so you'll describe the event here, the relevant components and implications, and the conclusions that are drawn. So this should include your research as well. All right, this doesn't really have to, because this is the exact event or issue that occurred at your current place of internship. So this is the relevant component. So this would include research. So for example, if I'm doing diversity and I am in a room with the administrative team and I notice everybody in the room is of all white and all male, that is going to allow me to critically think, what is going on here? What is our makeup of diversity at this organization? Are we succeeding with just the status quo? Add to that everybody is over, let's say, 50 years old in the room besides yourself. Okay, this is what you're going to research. So you think that there's an issue with this. So you've already talked about maybe a diversity issue or the definition of diversity or what diversity can do. Then you've identified an issue. And now you're going to go and have some relevant components. So for example, you might use Lapchick's diversity and inclusion report for all of the NFL or NHL, those types of things. Talk about how the lack of there or the increasingly benefits to having a diverse organization, using other schools as an example, as a model that you've researched. Okay, that is going to be in this section. Your plan of action, again, there's no wrong or right here, but you'll need to find yourself in a place of leadership position, and how would you handle it? What could have, should have been done? What would you do differently, or what was done similarly that you would do? You want to apply your stance, and you can, if applicable, support it with research. So let's say, for example, that Again, you found this information on diversity or ethics, and it's an ethical situation, and you find that a CEO of Walmart handled it very well. You're going to talk about, if you were in a position of leadership, what you would do. You would say, this is how Patricia Smith handled this situation. This is how John Smith handled this situation. And you would obviously cite it and say, I would follow the same applicable action if I was in a leadership position. Additionally, I would do such and such and such. All right. Again, there's no wrong or right, but you need to place yourself in that position someday. And how would you handle that situation differently or similarly? Try and do maybe differently. And if you are going to do something similarly, how can you increase it from that? What else would you do? Okay. Again, there's no wrong or right on this. On Blackboard, I've provided an example from a previous field report from a student. Again, this was on diversity, so it may not be applicable to your topic, but the content is the same. Okay. So applied competency. What did you do? There was social responsibility. What did this entail? So knowledge integration, social responsibility, effective communication. Look up that applied competency that we have that is provided for you that you can use there. All right. And then they've identified a problem. So working with ABC Athletic Department, again, if you don't feel comfortable naming the place or persons, you can create a safe space, a safe work assignment by simply putting in fake names. All right. For example, ABC, I myself, a Black man, socially correct, African American, see these issues as, an issue. This is what happened. There's a lack of diversity. What can it lead to? Many things. A situation that happened. Then here's some research about a HBCU school. Okay, that's the research to back that implementation up, or that situation, of course, not implementation, the situation, right? You didn't necessarily have to have it, but here's where you have it, right? So again, this is diversity. So LAPCHIC, they're talking about the percentages right now and how that affects an organization. And then you go into your plan of action. What would you do? How would you further the situation or improve the situation? Those types of things. All right. And then again, your reference page. So all in all, it's pretty simple, but these are the things that you're not going to be able to miss out on. So just make sure that you're reading over the assignment thoroughly and the rubric, which we'll review. So for this rubric, and I will shorten this. For this rubric, you can see this is technology. All right. The easiest way for any assignment when any course is, if there's a rubric provided, is to go through and check what you will be doing. Okay. So, for example, the problem identification clearly identifies and frames the issue problem in a manner that is useful for sufficiently addressing or discussing, displays mastery of all concepts involved. Did you identify a problem? So if you tell me that the problem is that there's too many young women in the department, that's really not a problem. What is the problem there? Do they not work effectively? Is it showing bias towards young females? Is there an issue along with having all their females? Those types of things. That's not a clear problem identification. It needs to be clear. The conclusions, you critically evaluate, you synthesize, you thoroughly analyze internal and external perspectives based on the conclusions and evidence provided. You provide implications and conclusions. So again, are you drawing upon a conclusion? Is this an issue? What are the issues? Have I provided enough support? Have I provided enough critical analysis in my paper to draw a conclusion that there is an issue or a problem or an event occurred? Industry-specific knowledge. For this, of course, an exceptional understanding of industry practices. So emerging trends in technology, especially for this technology, would be, am I most up to date? So if you tell me that this technology is being used for statistics to oversee all our waivers, yet I know that there's another program that's even better. You didn't really look up the industry specific knowledge. You're going off of your thoughts. You're not really digging into it. Info and literacy research, again, this is the research. Wikipedia is not a source. Do not find a blog. You need to find examples to support your stance, and you need to find credible sources to defend your stance or to provide support to your stance, okay? Again, it can't be a blog. It cannot be Wikipedia. You cannot simply tell me a definition. I know the definition of some things like technology and diversity and all that. This is talking about the situation and you supporting that situation. So if I have an ethical issue, where did this ethical issue occur at my current place? And has it occurred anywhere else? If it has, great. I'm going to point to that. If there's a situation where it's better, that's what I'm going to point to as well. Okay. So make sure it's applicable. And then your writing. Okay. APA, is it cited professionally? Is it sound professionally? Check your grammar. Do this early, print it out, go back, read it. You will be writing emails. You will be writing reports. You are going out into this world. You have to make sure that your grammar and your spelling and all that is error-free. Of course, we all make mistakes, but it is, if you start early on this report and you can maybe have somebody else look at your writing, that would be the best. But you're going to have excellent communication in this world. There's no text talk. So again, using there, they are, not as a possession. All right. There's no text to talk. Make sure that you have do not and maybe don't. So make sure, again, somebody is reading your paper and helping you out, not doing it for you, but maybe you give them a couple days to take, and maybe you can rearrange a sentence to sound more professional. Okay. So that's the gist of the report. And I hope that this helped. Again, this is just a rubric for technology. Everyone's going to be the same, but you get what I am saying in terms of that. Again, if it's leadership, it'll probably ask you that you have a knowledge of leadership. Well, then you should read about leadership. You should read the different definitions. You should provide examples, right? I'm not saying look them up via video. I'm saying read. Part of your growth in a career in sport is to constantly read about getting better, what you can implement at your site, what other people and organizations are doing to improve. You have to stay ahead of the game consistently. If there's any questions, you can email me, but I hope this helps with the report. And again, it should be proper writing. You should have 2 to 3 full pages. Really think about a situation that's going on. Think back, write a couple of ideas down. If you have to talk to your supervisor, you can. And again, this is not the same as your capstone project, but this will help you with your capstone project in terms of identifying an event or an issue, critically thinking, doing some research. So this will kind of prep you for your proposal and in turn your capstone poster.